Let's take some tzedakah with our prayers and with our certitude that we merit the coming of Mashiach, the revelation of Mashiach, as the mitzvah of tzedakah is supposed to accomplish. I came across a beautiful little story in the Beis Mashiach magazine. A young man, or at that time I should say a young child, 7 years old, by the name of Zev Goldfarb, who's originally from Austria. As many Jewish people from Austria did in the beginning of the Holocaust, they sent their children to England. England was welcoming at that time apparently children from Austria. This little 7-year-old finds himself in an orphanage in London, a Jewish orphanage. But obviously what's on his mind? His parents. As time goes on, he hears more horror stories, deportation, concentration camps, and all the sufferings of the plight of the Jewish people of Europe. And this kid is constantly wondering, what happened to my parents? Will I ever see them again? I hope they're alive. I hope they're safe. I hope they're not suffering. Knowing on his heart and mind constantly. One day, the children in the orphanage are told, King George himself is going to pass our neighborhood. And all of us are going to go out and greet the king. And as the halacha says, when you see a king, even a non-Jew, you have a blessing to recite. So children, it says, find your best clothing, clean your clothing, put on your Shabbos clothing, whatever you have, something respectful, and we will all stand on the street where King George will pass, and we will shout the blessing for the king. Little Zev is excited, like all the other children. The day comes, stands on the sidewalk, and awaits for the arrival and to see the king. The cortege starts coming. And Zev is excited. Any second now they told the king is going to be here. He's looking and looking. He doesn't see the king. So he asks, where's the king? He says, in the car. Don't you see the car that's just passing now? This is the king's car. And he thinks to himself, do I want to see a car or do I want to see a king? So Zev doesn't ask many questions. He succeeds in pushing himself through the crowd. And he gets close to the car. Escort, security, bounces on this little king, on this little child, but he's actually right next to the door and the window, and he already knocked on the king's car. And the king heard the commotion. And he said, what's going on? And he said, there's a little boy who says he wants to see you. King says, I'll never see him. Stop the cortege, stop the car. And the king looks, lowers the window, and there is a little boy, Zev Goldfarb, saying to the king, I want to see you, not just your car. The king is taken back by that sensitivity of this child, by the understanding of this child. And he says, child, who are you? My name is Zev Goldfarb. Where are you from? Obviously he didn't speak in English with an English accent. Says, I am originally from Austria. And in fact, I do not know where my parents are. My parents were left in Austria. And with everything that is happening in Austria, I'm scared and frightened and yearning to see my parents. Dear king, he cries, can you help me? Can you get me my parents? Can you make it that I should be able to see my parents? The king is moved by this little child. But with this, the encounter closed. Or so he thought. Months later, the director of the orphanage calls Zev and says, I have a surprise for you. I want you to be strong and capable to appreciate that surprise. He says, what is it? He says, come with me in the other room. And their parents and Zev are reunited. Indeed, the king found a way to save those people. And the other children were so disappointed. Why did we not go out and speak to the king? This is the month where the king is in the field. Not in his car, not in his palace. Melech Malcham Lachem, in the month of Elul, the king is out in the field. We can approach him. Let's not get sidetracked by the car, by the beauty of the environment, by the beauty of this time. Let's focus on the king and tell the king we want to see you, but not in the car. We want to see you not outside of your palace. We want to see you in your palace. And your palace is the Beis HaMikdash, where you will be revealed through the coming of Mashiach. Ribono Shel Olam, make it happen now.